Hellfire and the Fall of Empire. Our little hippopotapolitans have seen better days. They were once part of a large empire. That empire is in the process of retracting, and it's left the locals in charge of their own defense. They are surrounded by 6 tribes of barbarians. And, barbarians. Some of these guys are technological equals. The Popular Front and the Tilian Republic in particular, the Puka, the Grey Horde, and the Maka, and not so much. I've actually been lucky. It's been a quiet few years, which is very lucky because we're currently in the midst of a civil war. King Wargamius the Third, I think we're on the 3rd, maybe it's the 4th now. I'll have to check my notes. I think it's the 3rd, though. He lost Damascus, and as a result, lost the confidence of the people, and one of his nephews, cousins, something like that, declared himself. So the Kanathan Regency wound up taking over like all but 4 of the cities, but they only hold 4 as we move into the year of our Lord, 2593. They hold Kanatha, Hippos, which is the capital of this little empire, Scythopolis, and Pella. So they're hurting. They don't have a reserve. Fortunately for us, for Wargamius the 3rd or 4th, he was able to escape with the treasury intact, which means that he has been able to bring a lot more military power to bear. This should be the end of the Kanathan Regency. He'll bring them to heel, but that depends on what the outsiders do. If we have 6 invasions by a bunch of these guys, it's going to be a real problem. We are, of course, using all of the questions and all of the events here in Hellfire and the Fall of Empire. I should point out one thing that I haven't been doing too well. The Kanatha is the area that has the energy weapons. I figure that we're peers, that in the Civil War, both forces have the energy weapons available to them, although because all of the military plants are in Kanatha, they should be able to deal with that. Now, the problem that we're looking at here, I sat down and I reran the numbers. This is what it looks like for the Kanathan Regency. With the, well, here's the only 4 cities, like I mentioned. These are the only 4 cities they control: Scythopolis, Hippos, Pella, and Kanatha. That is a total of only 33 population. They're only bringing in 66 kilocredits per year. The real problem that means for them is that they're military. They've got the remnants of the empire. They've got an aerial aircraft. They've only got 1 of them at this point. They've got 1 battery of artillery and the 447th support battalion. So they don't have any real ground troops. It's all going to be these things in support of the local militias defending these last few cities. Unless we want to spend, they will have a surplus of 6,000 kilocredits, which I think they're going to go ahead and spend. They do have 1,800 in the bank, so they're going to wind up trying to spin up in the early part of the year some kind of a mobile reserve that they can send out into the field to maybe stave off defeat for 1 more year. In the meantime, the Hippos, the boys from Damascus, that's where they've retreated to. This is the new kind of capital, I guess you could say, capital in exile, where the government in exile is. They really want to retake Hippos, and that's going to be their priority this year. The political win from taking out Hippos will be huge for them. So probably Hippos, maybe taking Kanatha. That'll really take the wind out of the sails of the Regency, losing their home city. And of course, it's a factory town, so those always are important. But it depends on what happens this year. So they have a much larger military. It costs them a total of 128 kilocredits per year to maintain. And as we look at their income, barring any surprises, they're only bringing in 112. So they are going to be losing out on 16 kilocredits just right off the bat, even if they don't develop anything new. The good news is they do have 2 battalions of regular infantry, just regular leg infantry. 1 is supported by a company of medium armor, 1 by a company of heavy armor, a lot of heavy hitting power. If we can send 2 of those into 2 of these cities, that should spell the end of the Regency. However, as I said, that's really going to depend on what happens here in the event phase of this campaign. Every year you start, and I have a little one sheet here that let me just pull this out. Snap, a little loud, I know, I apologize. There we go. So here is what we have to do. Here are the questions we have to answer. First of all, there will be no Tilians. When we roll for the barbarian invasions, not until 2056. We just creamed those guys, just completely obliterated them. They do not want a taste of what the Hippos are dishing up. Same thing with the Popular Front, although they'll be ready in just another year. Next year, they may show up. And the way we've been running this, if I roll that the Tillians show up, it's basically a get out of jail free card. So if I only have one barbarian tribe show up and it's the Tillians, they nope on back home. Okay. I don't know if that's canon. I don't know if that's, well, I don't know if that's how the rules are intended to be played, but that's how we've been doing it. Jim Webster, who wrote these rules, he wrote Hellfire, the generic 1-300. He has a couple of other. Here, I'll throw the covers up right here. He has a couple of other games that are out right now. He just sent me these in email, but you know, I gotta show you. I gotta prove my bona fides. So I recommend you take a look at those. All of these are available on the Jeff Bezos Bazaar. Good old Amazon.com for like $10-15. They're a good, fun, breezy read. You know, Jim writes with that kind of casual, conversational. Here's some ideas. You could try this. I like it. I'm a fan of Jim's. And not just because he sends me free stuff. Okay, so we got to run down these. Let me reach up here. I am an old man. I am 50 years old and no longer capable of standing or reaching without making a big grunting noise, apparently. Some of you guys have expressed a little bit of disdain for my big green dice. I think they show up great on camera, but those of you that follow me over on Elon Musk's House of Conversation will know I started a D&D campaign for 3 charming and lovely young ladies. Let's get St. Michael right side up. And we bought these dice for one of them, and she actually has fancy clear dice with little rubber duckies in them. Absolutely adorable. These girls are phenomenal. Oh, bloodthirsty as all get out. You would not believe the war crimes they're getting up to. I'm so proud of them for that. All right, so we got to go through this, but maybe I'll do a full video on that later. So we got to go through this. So first thing we have to understand: does the campaign end? Oh, we have to roll percentile dice for this. Let's see if the yellow show up a little better against the white. So on a 1%, something really fascinating happens. And of course, I rolled in 39. So nothing fascinating happens. Basically, the Empire could come back in force, just like Turbo Empire, and say, hey, remember how you spent like 10 years thinking that maybe you were going to be your own kingdom? No, that didn't happen to us. And you're supposed to do that at the end of the year, but I put it here just because we're in the interlude, right? If we have to retcon that, fine, it's okay. So the campaign is not ended. I write a little no there. You know, it's the Valentine's season, and I can't find any heart pencils. I'm really disappointed. Usually I stock up for the year. I'll have to look around. At least the local Wally World didn't have them. So the next thing we have to understand is, does Hippos shrink? And just to point out the map here, this is our little world. This is our up on the northern shores of a major continent. Hippos is like all the big boys. The powerful senators and whatnot are like, man, all this civil war and these barbarians, this is terrible. I don't like this. I'm retiring. I'm going to take my money, and I am not, maybe they're baby boomers. They're like, I'm taking my money and I'm running. I'm going to go back to the home country and I'm going to let my kids fend for themselves. And the kids are like, yeah, okay, whatever. So we have a 1 in 3 chance of Hippos shrinking. And with a 4, they do not. So instead of, they started at 12 population. I don't know what that means. 1.2 million. They're only at 11 right now. Once they get down to like half size, if it gets down to 6, that stops. The next thing we got to do is roll for Gadara, Pella, and Philadelphia. And what I've been doing, Gadara and Philadelphia, were the scenes of major fighting. So refugees will be streaming out of there. On a 1 or a 2, Gadara and Philly will shrink. On a 1, Pella shrinks. It's a peaceful town. But again, these are here, see Pella? See the little dollar sign? These are the financial centers. Turns out, being the site of a major battle, kind of bad for business. I mean, it depends on what business you're in, right? If you're an arms dealer, it's probably pretty good. So we are going to roll for Gadara on a 1 or a 2. Yep. Pella, nope. And Kanatha on a 1 or a 2. So Gadara, and Philly shrink. Okay, so this is bad for us because it's going to reduce the incomes of one. Well, Gadara is over here. Where's Gadara? There it is. Here in Philadelphia. These are both in the hands of the Loyalists, so the Loyalist income is going to go down. Then we have to check for Scythopolis on a 1, Dion on a 1, and Kanatha on a 1. None of those shrink. We have 3 more to do. Scythopolis, where is? There it is. These are our factory towns, Gerasa and Damascus. Wait, Scythopolis? Dion. Oh, these are grouped. Oh, Scythopolis, Dion, and Kanatha were good. Rafana, Gerasa, and Damascus. That's the one. So these are our artistic towns. Artists. They're not going to go full. I'm trying to. Who is the? I'm drawing a blank. Who was the author during the Spanish Civil War? Hemingway, right? They really like to go drink in a bar and then go home and write stories about all the adventures they had fighting in a war. Not a fan of Hemingway. All right, so we got to check. Rafana is okay. Garasa on a 1 or a 2 shrinks, and Damascus does not. So Garasa also shrinks. That is going to affect the outcome of our financials. We'll take a look at those in a minute. Unit withdrawn. So here we have, now because we're so late and these guys have put down roots, we on a 1 and 3, they're going to lose anywhere from 0 to 4 companies of troops. So on a 1 or a 2, they do not. So they do not withdraw. And remember that our rebellion, those are the ones that have the loyalty of all of the former imperial units. Then we have, does the governor die? And I have to roll twice. I got to roll once for the usurper. On a 1, he dies. And on a 1, Wargamius dies. Nope, none of them. After a few years, that goes to a 1 and 10. And then we have our barbarians. How many guys are coming in? Just the 1. Okay, good. Just 1. That's great. That means we're going to be able to finish up the Civil War and maybe things will get back to relatively normal. No and no. This means that Gadara, which started out at 10, now has a population of 9. Garasa, as we said, started at 13. It goes to a population of 10. And the last one is Philadelphia. So we're clearing out flyover country, or sail around country, I guess you could call them, because they're bounded by water. Philadelphia is also going to shrink. All 3 of these are in control of the loyalists. That means the loyalist income goes down by 3 on the year. And instead of that 112 I promised you, they're only going to make 106 kilocredits out of taxes. We could raise taxes and make more money, but it makes it much more likely that your boys surrender. So if we just run these numbers, it means that our reserve for the loyalists, as I said, it costs them 128,000 per year, which means we are 22,000 short. We're going to knock 22,000 off this and be left with 141.1 kilo credits. I may have already factored in the cost of replacing some of these units. I don't remember, to be honest with you. It's been a few weeks since I looked at this, but I don't really think it's going to make that big a difference. Then, as I said, the rebels here, they've got 6,000. They're going to wind up with 7,800 in their reserve, but we need to buy them a military. So we can take a look, or some resources. We want them to have at least 1 unit of guys. So if we refer to the notes in here, then these are the wage costs, the cost of raising a company. We're going to raise 3 companies of something. It's got to be like, now, that's a good point. When we raise our home defense militia, it's going to cost us 1,500. So every company, and what I've been doing is, if I understand this correctly, it's 50 to raise them, and then it's 150 a month. So you need to train them early, and basically it means every company that you want to raise is going to cost you 1,500. So if I want to have 4 companies of defense for the defense of whichever city, I got to save all 7,800. I can get 5, and I think that's probably the thing to do. What we'll do is we're going to say the rebels here, as a last ditch effort, all they can really afford is the 5 companies of defense militia, and that will leave them with a reserve of just 300. We could try to invade one of the other cities, but I don't think that's necessary. And because we want to save this for the barbarians, we're going to leave the 140.1 kilocredits for the loyalists, which means the last thing we have to do for the year to figure out what's going to happen is find out which of those barbarians is going to get froggy with us. And for that, we roll a d6. Maca, Pop Front, the Wheelian Supremacy, Puka, Dillian Republic, and the Grey Horde. So I roll a 3, and that means 1, 2, 3. The Wheelian Supremacy, they're getting froggy. They are going to try to take advantage of our misfortunes. But as I said in the 29th, the Wheelians, to the Tillians. So the Wheelians are going to do it. So the Wheelian Supremacy, they say, hey, you guys are distracted, which means our loyalists are only going to be able to invade 1 city probably. So what we do is we roll a d10 to find out if they have political troubles of their own. You know, it's dangerous out here on the frontier. On a 2, they do not. Then we roll a d6 to find out what they're really into, man. And on a 1, 2, 3, they're going to try to take a city. On a 4, they can be bought off. And I think that's what we do. We're going to buy off. Well, who's going to buy them off, though? We got to take a look at the map to figure out what they're going to do. The Wheelian Supremacy is either going to go for Garasa. Oh, they could come up here. So let's find out which city they want to take. Pella, Garasa, or Philadelphia. And this could be a problem for the Loyalists. If they take Pella, then maybe the Canothans let them do that. It'll be a thorn in the side of the Loyalists next year. So for now, and also it'll cost us 7 population. You know, that's 14 kilocredits. That ain't nothing, champ. So we'll roll to see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Pella, Garasa, and Philadelphia, respectively. With a result of a 3, they're going after poor old Garasa. And I will make a note of that here on my 1 sheet. The Wheelians take Garasa. But they can be bought off. Isn't that what we said? You wouldn't think a guy would forget this quickly, but I'm trying very hard to entertain you. On a 4, they can be bought. Oh yeah, on a 4, they can be bought off. So what does it say for paid? It says paid to go away. If offered money, roll a d8. That's how much it costs to buy off a company or unit. All right. So how expensive is this going to be? 7. All right. It's 700 credits. If that's too high, the Empire can roll a d8. If their roll is less, they've talked the barbarians down, can split the difference. Yeah, we're going to try to talk them down. So we roll a d8. We send our negotiators out. And with a 6, it's only going to be, all right, so the difference is 50. So that's going to be 650 per company. And well, how much is that altogether? Although I don't know. It says they can be hired as paid allies. To help guide our thinking a little bit more, we can take a look at the description. They're a military dictatorship, young state with natural resources. It looks toward the Tilian Republic for inspiration. Has created a number of conscript infantry battalions. Okay, because we got to figure that out. It says a unit will have 8 bases of infantry. All right, well, how many are coming to the party here? They're going to be bringing D6 plus 2 infantry. So if I want to buy these guys off, it's going to be 4 companies of infantry. So 4 companies of infantry at 650 a company, that's going to be 2,600 credits to simply buy them off. And whether I'm going to wait to roll to see if I can hire them. I may actually use these guys as paid allies. 1 artillery battery and 1 tank company. So that's going to be another +1 arty +1 tank company. Okay, so that's going to be another 1,300. It's going to cost us 3,900 to hire this force. And I think Wargamius wants to do that. It is a little, paid mercenaries. We could call them paid allies in this case. And we'll even call it around 4,000. Just a nice even 4,000. And we're going to hire them. So forget I said, maybe. I got to roll a 1 or a 2. So I'm paying them the 4,000 to go away. But on a 1 or a 2, I can use them to help me take probably Garasa. No, we can't. Okay, so it's just 4,000 right out of the gate. Unfortunately, that's going to leave us with 141 kilocredits. Although I got to be honest with you, I think we're getting off light. Paid to go away by Wargamius. And of course, the other thing is, I think this is pretty fair. We paid 4,000. We probably could have said that they approached the rebels. And maybe the rebels would pay 4,000 to hire them as a force to act as a blocking force. And that would give us a scenario where we've got 4 companies of infantry and we'd have to figure out, what that battle's going to look like. But I'm comfortable with what we did here. After all, Garasa and Philadelphia are the 2 nearest ones. The Wheelian Supremacy, they're going to come up through the gap here, the gap of the Maka River. And the first units that they're going to encounter are going to be Wargamius's. So I think what we can do is decide that, and then you can roll to find out what month they come, but it doesn't matter. We paid them to go away, so it doesn't really matter. So instead, what we're going to decide here is that Wargamius needs to try and retake Kanatha and Hippos. So we're going to go this way, and maybe we can cut these two off and take them next year. What does all that mean? We're going to run 2 operations. Operation Horseman is going to attack Hippos, a battalion of regular infantry with the heavy tanks. We really want to win this one. They're going to use a support and recovery company. They're going to bring a med team, a company, MASH 40 Hippo. And we got to take our aircraft. We're going to send all 3 aircraft against Hippos. There is only 1 plane remaining of the Imperial force, and we're going to have to knock that out of the sky. We can use one of ours to negate that one. We can even do like a little mini battle for that. And then we're going to send the Operation Choppy Loppy, is intended to cut the head off the opposition. Almost, literally, if we can actually catch the Usurper. The Usurper, for his part, now the aircraft are based. We said that this aircraft is based out of Hippos. That's where the Imperial units are. They did manage to get their Imperial artillery into Kanatha after the last set of battles. They're cut off. They don't have a whole lot of supplies. But like I said, we're going to send we're going to buy. Well, I tell you what. Let's do this. Let's roll a D4 to find out how many companies of militia will defend Kanatha. And then the other, remember we got 5, and then whatever's left over will defend Hippos. 3. So we're going to have 3 companies defending Kanatha, and we are going to have 2 companies of militia defending Hippos. And that is what the rest of the year 2953 is going to look like for our attempts to hold things together just a little bit longer. And we're deep enough into this video. We're going to do that next time. This is probably a pretty good way to do this. We can run through 2 years in a month. If we do a video of the kind of logistics and setting up the battles, and then in our next video, might be a little bit shorter because I think these battles are going to go pretty quickly. Till next time. If you want to know what happens to the Usurper, we can maybe even do a mini game, like whether the Usurper escapes into the Barbarian hordes at the end of the day. But you'll have to tune in next week to find out about that. And when you do, until you do, I'm praying for you.